Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast, presents episode 717, Halo Respawn, recorded live on January 30th, 2020. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I am your host, Duststorm, and for those watching the live stream, this is podcast 2 for tonight. For those listening, it is another podcast after the fact, and I have with me the whole gang from Halo Respawn. So let's go ahead and start off the line with Vet King. Is it Vetty King or Vet King?
Yeah.
Vet King?
You got it, Dustin. Yeah.
AKA Matt.
Vet King 95. Yeah. That's me. Am I supposed to introduce myself in some sort of way?
We'll go through that in just a second. So,
that's me.
Yeah, we got Vet King.
All right.
We've also got Hungry X Bear.
What's going on, guys?
Or Mike, for short. And then we've got
it's still the same.
Yeah. And then we've got no stranger to the Podtacular community, but coming back on the show, we've got South.
How's it going?
Going good. We've got lots of interesting little tidbits of Halo that I think we've been kind of chatting about in Twitter DMs and Discord that we want to talk a little bit about tonight. But yeah, so many good things, and so many opinions that I share with you guys, and there's some in the community that aren't so favorable of some of those things, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But first off, since Vet King and Mike, we haven't officially had you on the show in any capacity. South, you've been on here, so we don't need to do the full intro with you. But we'll start off with Vet King. Something we ask our guests every time that we have them on is two things, and one of them we is kind of the reason you're on the show, which is what do you do in the Halo community. So we'll change that one up.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask how you got involved with Halo. So how you first got involved with Halo. And then the second question would be, what is your most favorite aspect of the Halo universe? What makes you keep coming back to Halo?
Okay. Yeah, so to answer the first question, what got me into Halo? It's actually launch day in 2001. I have two older brothers, and long story short, I broke our Sega Dreamcast, so that meant we got an Xbox. And so launch day comes around, my brothers both got an Xbox. That
was intentional, right?
We had all their friends over. Yes. Sonic the Hedgehog does crazy things to a young kid. And so my brothers both got an Xbox, and all the friends came over and had a LAN party, and I walked downstairs, and they were playing on Rat Race. And that was my first experience with Halo, and since then, it's just been every single day for the past however many years now. So,
not to run a tangent too much, but I never really appreciated Rat Race as a map until I started playing it a lot as it came back in MCC. Like I started playing Halo on PC, and obviously like Rat Race was something that came up in server browser every once in a while, but I don't think I appreciated how fun that map is to play until playing it again on MCC.
Yeah, I didn't play it much back on the original Halo, but MCC, it's just so chaotic. It's just fun. So I appreciate it much more now than I did then.
And then what keeps you coming back to Halo?
Yeah, that one's pretty easy. It's honestly just the community. That's why I came back when I graduated from university, was just the community aspect. That's what kept me coming back, because I think a lot of us kind of lost track with the game itself over the past few years in some instances, but just the community and the friends that I've made here is what makes it for me. So
very nice. And then Hungry Bear, same questions for you.
Awesome. Yeah. So my story is kind of a little bit different than Matt's, but pretty much. So I was a kid. I gamed a little bit, not too much. My grandmother says, "Hey, we're gonna go do a bunch of errands. Just tag along. I promise. We'll go to a toy store, or McDonald's, or whatever. Get you something cool." So I'm like, "All right, cool. Whatever." We sit. I'm like, "Okay, great." So we sit in a nail salon. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "Great, this is the best place to be right now." And I'm bored out of my mind. I'm just waiting for the time to go by me to get out of there and get the reward. And I see these two dudes. They come out. They bring a an Xbox, they put it down, they start up, and they're starting playing Halo CE. And I saw that, and I didn't know what it was at the time. I was like, whatever that is, I want more of it. And I just fell in love with it completely. And then, time would go by, and then, my brother would say, hey, come hang out. We're going to go to some friend's house. We're going to play some video games. And then everyone's just playing split screen CE the whole time. And then from there on, it was a lot of LAN, a lot of split screen parties. And then Halo 3, I think, was the one that really was like, at the end of the time of that, I was just like, wow, okay, I think I'm going to play this for the rest of my life. I'm never going to stop playing this game. I'm never going to stop playing this franchise. I'm not putting the controller down anytime soon. And then that was the one that really, really got me really good. And then I think the thing that keeps on bringing me back, it's very similar. It's the community, but it's the family that I get out of Halo. I've known these people that I play Halo with for 10 years. And it's just like every time there's a new Halo, we all get together. We all either go through campaign or multiplayer, and it's just the family of Halo that brings me back.
Very nice. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that we got started with Halo, obviously. Yeah, my personal was, like I mentioned, Halo on PC and then Halo 3 on Xbox. And I've told that story over and over again. Yeah, so welcome on the show. You guys are relatively new to the podcast scene, but like you've kind of explained, you're not new to the Halo scene at all. You've been in the Halo community for quite some time. South, we met first at PAX 5 years ago or so? Something like that?
Man, has it been that long?
I think so.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I can't. I know. I forgot how you found Podtacular, but you came over and started kind of participating in some of the game night stuff, and then.
Yeah, it was through Haas and Men and Mercy. I came across them. I don't even remember how, to be honest with you. But
we had some kind of mini Podtacular resurgence somehow. And I forget when it was. I think it must have been around the MCC time frame.
Yeah,
because we had a pretty good following after Halo 3. We got a pretty major dip after Reach, and then we got a huge dip after Halo 4 because. Reasons. Yeah. We'll say that reasons.
Reasons. That's it.
I mean, we've struggled to come back up, but at this point, it's just kind of a passion project. But there was something in the MCC timeframe where we got a little blip, and we had a little small subset of people come in, and it was like you, Twisted, Mending, Haas. I think that's when GT came in, Biowolf, and quite a few other people that kind of have stayed around for a little bit. Laird was saying that we met in person by staying in the same hotel room, but I think we met online before then.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, PAX hotels. Yeah. And then I think Vet King, I don't think I really met you in person until Outpost.
Yeah. It was Outpost,
okay.
Yeah.
We had interfaced over social media a few times.
Yeah, I mean, I remember my first interaction with you was back during the Halo Reach days when I was playing GGL Griffball.
Okay.
I believe.
I was going to take a wild guess and didn't know if it was through Typographic or not. Yeah. That would have been a while ago then.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, wow. And then Hungry Bear, you're, I guess, my most recent acquaintance of the group.
I think I saw you at E3 2017. There was a community thing. We said hi really quick, 2 seconds, but I had to hung out for 15 minutes and then had to go. I had other stuff I had going on. Bravo was like, hey, hang out. We're kind of packed up and stacked up on people. But just feel free to hang out and stuff. So I hung out for a little bit and then that was it. But it was a quick hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? Cool. All right. Catch you later.
Gotcha. That would have been at the little restaurant thing that's now by the Microsoft Theater, right?
Japanese restaurant in LA.
Yeah. Great little, I don't know, what do you call those tapas or just appetizer things or?
Yeah, it was like a nice little Getty. It was a nice little thing that you were able to do.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you would call it, but it was cool because I got to see Frankie and some of these people for the first time and really spend time with them and chat with them, and it was fun.
Unfortunately, they haven't done those for the last couple of years.
Well, fingers crossed. I think Infinite's got some really cool things in the horizon, so we'll see if they want to bring that back.
Yeah, for sure. It's been surprising that they have not really said much about Infinite so far.
It's been so
I
quiet.
hope we can get into that big time because
I mean, that's kind
me
of
and
what I
Eric
was leading the topic.
Hot
So
all day.
So the floor is open. We don't have any specific agenda to talk about tonight. There is a couple of things, but yeah, the floor is pretty much open for us to banter because I know there's some things that we like to talk about.
I was talking with Eric not too long ago, and someone had posted. I don't know if you guys noticed, but Halo's YouTube had put a new, or not. It wasn't new. It was released a while ago, about 2 months ago, a month ago.
January 6th, I think.
It was like We Are January 6th. So it was the We Are 343. It was just posted up a couple hours ago, earlier today, and I was just watching it again. But someone had brought up on Twitter, and they were like, "Oh, hey, look! It looks like they're playing Infinite here." Some people were arguing that it's Halo 5, but I think I was looking for any little thing, and someone said
anything we can.
somebody said like, "Oh, look, it's not because other footage shows the Spartan's thumb off of the BR when they're running." And then this one, his thumb is on the BR when he's running. Like that's how bad I'm looking for Infinite news. It's like any little thing people have online, I'm eating it up.
Rolling up to Walmart. Hey, you got any Infinite news for me?
Hey man, Walmart's the place, bro.
hey, I'll pay you for some Infinite news. Leaks, please, leaks.
By the way, stray away from, man, I don't think I want to even mention the guy's
Halo 5
thing, but there's a famous, oh my god, clickbait, Mr. Clickbait over there, bro. Stray away from that, dude. There's nothing there. Nothing.
I will say though, it's like I will say good for 343 keeping everything for the most part a surprise.
Hush hush.
Especially in today's era.
Oh yeah.
Anything. I mean, that's impressive.
I mean, anything Google, Apple, any that these major companies are working on, it's leaked. So they're definitely keeping a tight lid. I mean, even like when Community Day at this last PAX, like they had security guards. So they're pretty intense about it right now. So I don't think we're going to see anything leak out anytime soon.
Yeah, they've been pretty good about it, and I mean, with leaks in the past, there are definitely those that kind of encourage the leaks and encourage the sharing of it, and there's others that are like, "This is a leak. Tread responsibly." So it'll be interesting to see how Infinite goes out. But the fact that it's been in development for almost 5 years now. Well, I guess technically more than 5 years. And we really haven't seen much is really a testament to either one, how well the studio is keeping things under wraps, or two, how well that people that know are actually like keeping shut, and maybe they're just excited about it and don't want to spoil it for anyone else.
And I think 3, how bad are the consequences of the NDA?
Oh yeah.
Not to say a single thing.
You lose your job and your dog.
It's dark.
Not Mr. Fluffers.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So it's been a interesting last couple of months, especially with the E3 trailer and the fact that we really don't have anything. And it was funny.
Yep.
Once that little 7-second thing in the VGXs came out, people were like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yes.
It's like, really? It's just an art piece.
You know how many people were just like, "What is he shooting at?" And I was just like, "Nothing. He's shooting at nothing. It's just
cleaning cool. It's just pew pew.
It's an art piece."
Yeah, it was just something to get hype. People were. It's so funny. Everyone on Twitter, "What's he shooting at?" I was like, "Bro, guys, absolutely nothing. The air, like it's just looking rad." That's all.
It's like,
and everyone was like, "He's sprinting. He's sprinting."
Like, calm down,
as people do.
Yeah, it looked awesome. It looked cool. Cool. At least we got something, right? Some more visual, and then they put those 4K wallpapers of some stills of that too. So it's like, it's pretty cool. It was nice to have. And it's nice to have at least something, because I was going to say, if there's no Infinite anything at the Video Game Awards, if there's nothing whatsoever, then it'd be pretty wild. And I think in the past, the Video Game Awards have always had some Halo announcement. Halo 4 was announced that way. Reach was announced that way. So I was expecting at least to see some Infinite announced, like kind of like old school, since they're using the nostalgia thing to bait everyone in, which I'm loving. The nostalgia, the way they're using nostalgia to try to hype people up for Halo. I was expecting to do the marketing the same way, and I know that's something that Eric, you like to talk about too, is the marketing for Infinite, especially with that audio clip that we saw recently, the I Love Bees. I'm hoping we get to see some stuff like that to really hype it up.
Yeah, I'm really curious what their campaign is going to be like, because, and this is another tangent we can go on, but the Halo 5 campaign was really well done. Unfortunately, it just didn't match any or everything that we did in the game.
Yeah.
The Hunt the Truth, the podcasts, the audio stories for Hunt the Truth were some of the best marketing I've ever seen. Ever.
Yeah.
Ever. I would just like anticipate. And that the hype for that was so great that I was expecting the game to meet a certain standard that I felt like the podcast was saying a certain story and then the game didn't continue that story. And so I was a little confused when the game released. I really liked the game, but I was just a little bit confused.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people were confused.
Yeah.
Because we certainly were.
I mean, I remember playing the story, being like halfway in and being like really hyped up about it. And then as I hit the halfway point, I just started realizing, this is not doing it for me. Like, I think I was having way more fun playing Halo 3's campaign and Halo 4's campaign than I was having like playing this one. Even though there was a lot of new things, there was some great stuff that was done in it. It just didn't do it for me, at least. It's not up there on my list, but the multiplayer for 5, incredible. Like, incredible.
For me personally, Halo 5's multiplayer is the best since Halo 2.
I can agree with that. Like, no questions.
Like, for me, my favorite Halo game is Halo 2. Post bugs and patches and whatnot.
Of course. So would you say, like, Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer is the best one in your opinion? Like out of your flavor, what you like from a multiplayer?
So while I think Halo 2 Anniversary did a good job at matching the mechanics of Halo 2 multiplayer, I still prefer the original multiplayer a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's just me personally.
I think Halo 2 Anniversary was a step in the right direction as to where I think we can find the balance between Halo 5 and Halo Classic. We dare say Classic Halo. But I definitely like the approach that the 3 took with that. Moving from Halo 5. So it felt really good.
I wish that what they did, because when you're playing Halo 2 Anniversary Campaign, the game feels exactly like Halo 2. So there's nothing that changes it. When you go and you have the anniversary graphics pop up, it looks clean, it looks crisp, but it feels exactly the same. I wish the only thing that happened to the multiplayer in Halo 2 Anniversary, in my opinion, was that just it was reskinned and repainted as the anniversary. It would have been the same exact game and feel, and I think that would have played a little bit better than having a different BR and a series of everything else that was like implemented in it. Yeah. Then people would have went nuts for that. People would still be going crazy for that. Like now, just change the graphics. That was it.
Yeah, I can't add anything else to that really.
So Infinite. So let's get into Infinite. What do we want to see the most? Dustin, what do you want to see the most out of it? What, if you could say like top 3 things that you want from Infinite, whether it's multiplayer, campaign, or just overall. So
we're just talking about like final delivery of things.
Yes, the game is out. It's gold. It's ready to play. What are those things that you would say are on your list that you hope to be on the gold Infinite?
I think the multiplayer needs to be solid from an aspect of like this might sound cliche, but take all the good parts from a lot of the multiplayer stuff, have a foundation of, okay, maybe you start with a combination of Halo 3 and Halo 5 or Halo 2 and Reach, and then take some of the other bits that people really liked about the different pieces of the game from the multiplayer perspective, and then build that up with plenty of options that supports both the competitive community and the customs community.
The social class.
Yeah, because there is a huge piece of the social side of things with custom games. And even though like they try to push the competitive, I think the social side of things is actually a lot more popular than the competitive side of things.
And there's more traffic.
There is. I mean, you look at things like Forge Hub, the iForge network, Halo Customs, Halo Tracks. There's just so many like custom games communities out there, and that's what people play. mean, there is the competitive side of things, but the social side of Halo is the most popular side of Halo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I felt's really been kind of missing, at least for me. That's kind of why I dropped off during Halo 4. Going from Reach, which I think still had a very strong social community side, after that, I just fell off the map because I just didn't feel it was there. I mean, I think part of that was the Forge in Reach was so spectacular. You know, we had a really good community. Again, with like the race community was big. Shout out to Duquesne for that.
Yep.
You know, but I mean, Griffball was at its peak. It was still a very strong community at that time, and that's kind of where I centered myself around. And then once Halo 4 came out, nobody stuck around. That kind of continued, and it's starting to come back, but I think they need to put more focus into the community side or social side than the competitive, even though it's still a very strong point.
As you mentioned that, Matt, another thing that I feel like needs to be on with Infinite at launch is every game mode and type needs to be there at launch, available at launch, and created by P43, not made by the community with settings like that. Like we can do a lot of cool things. I hope they give us options to create game types still, but I want like King of the Hill at launch. I want territories at launch. I want like the capture flag to be like unique. I want everything oddball. I want oddball at launch. I want like everything available at launch.
You need the staples.
Not exactly
the staples.
Like Juggernaut. Like you, and then like I remember like Juggernaut was an option at Reach at launch on the playlist. Like you should have some really fun things out there too. You should have something for everybody. You should have something for the casuals. You should have something for the competitive players. You should have something for the lone wolves, the people who just want to go out by themselves and just go and have fun. And everything needs to be there. I mean, I think we all agree. Everyone is on the same page. If it's not there in launch, we're going to be that's going to leave a bad taste in our mouth.
We're already
Halo
seeing
community
that now with Master Chief Collection for Halo Reach. Forge and Theater are missing, which are huge aspects of just the community side of things. And that's why everybody's, I mean, what are we, a month and a half out now from the launch of Reach on PC?
So I do think that's
Xbox.
A little bit different because you're porting a game that was never designed to be on PC in the first place.
Right.
Yeah. So we're talking about a game that's built from the ground up, which Halo 5 didn't really do a good job.
You still see that reaction. Yeah. We're still seeing that
you do, but I think there's a little more leeway of like, hey, this is something that we're kind of doing as fan service.
Sure.
But I think, I mean, I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Every game mode that's ever existed in Halo available in Infinite Day one? Or at least something similar?
Yes. I don't Stockpile, Headhunter, like everything. What are you going to say, Eric?
I was going to say, to me, it's not a big deal if every single game mode is there because it's a big game. There's lots of development that has to go into it. I know kind of like sideline here is for me, what's really important with Infinite is I want a really good story. I want a really good campaign. I want to have those wow moments that I had with Halo CE coming across the flood for the first time. You know, I want to poop my pants.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be really into the story because that's what brought me into Halo originally. Yes, partially multiplayer, but when I really fell in love with Halo was playing through the campaign. So for me, having all the game types multiplayer isn't as important. But at the same time, you know, I don't, you know, like with Halo 5, granted, you know, things are still happening with Halo 5 after, you know, how many years now it's been out?
Almost 5.
5 years.
But
more than 5.
I want to see Halo Infinite continue to grow more than just, oh, here's some forged maps. Like I want to see new maps, like high detail maps. You know, I want to see the story expand upon, you know, the idea of Infinite, if it is what we think if it's based on the word or whatever, going based off the word, you know, if it's a game that continues to grow through time, you know, I want to see it continue to be added to, whether it's story, multiplayer. You know, I don't want, like I said, you know, I don't want the Forge maps, the kind of lower detail Forge. Nothing against people who like Forge, nothing against Forge at all. It's just I want new maps, not maps that were made in Forge, if that makes sense. But
yep.
And that's kind of something that I think for a lot of us, I mean, especially when you first get into Halo, like for me, one of my favorite maps of all time was Headlong in Halo 2. And that's not a Forge map. That's a map that was created by the devs. And then what was the map pack on Halo Reach? Was it Highlands?
The anniversary map pack? Or are you talking about?
Yeah, the anniversary.
Yeah, Timberland.
The one where you see the Covenant cruisers. Yeah, Timberland.
Oh, no, Highland. That's Highland.
It was Highlands. The one with the Covenant cruisers in the background.
Yep.
Classic Reach. Like maps like those, like that's kind of one that everybody loves now in Reach. And I agree. I feel like stuff like that was missing because, just as Eric was saying, I think it's just as important as those moments that we had in campaign. Like for me, it was the first time you stepped on the Halo. That moment for me will be forever ingrained in my mind.
Yep.
And for me, same way I got started with Halo was seeing Rat Race, but it's like that. Those images don't leave my mind. There's not really a Forge map that I can think of that had that same, sort of captivating essence to it. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, Eric brings up the first time you see the spires on Requiem as another kind of one of those staple moments.
Yeah.
I think having the big team developer made maps was something that was very apparent and lacking in Halo 5. And I think that needs to come back with it. And especially with kind of the whole feeling that we're getting of it's going to be very open world, open spaces. Why wouldn't you do some big team player maps, especially like in addition to not just the open world concept that's kind of being shown off, the whole thing of they're trying to respect legacy type thing as well. A lot of that stuff we saw from Halo 1 all the way through Halo Reach, at least with the big team battle style maps that they've made. So yeah, I think that's another pillar from the multiplayer stuff that needs to really come back and be supported.
I think it would be cool. Sorry,
I was going to say, and I think with Halo 5, at least it seemed like with Forge in general, it lacked the detail that you would expect in a normal map. And so, you go into a new map in Halo 5, newish map in Halo 5, and it's very low res, very low detailed. It's a lot of it has to me, it seems to go back to the lack of what Forge was able to do. So I'm hoping if it's a direction that they continue to go in as far as, forged maps and things like that, like they add a lot more detail. And hopefully with the Slip Space engine and, all this new stuff they're working on, hopefully that's something we see. And especially with what, Microsoft's claiming that the new Xbox will be able to do, I feel like you would be able to see more higher detailed Forge stuff going on in general because the Xbox can handle it a lot better.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. There has to be a lot of the traditional Halo stuff, and I know there's the whole debate of what's classic Halo, what's traditional Halo, but
oh my gosh,
it depends on when you first played Halo. It feels like
right.
That's true.
But I'm like I grew up. I've been playing Halo since CE, but I'm the type of person where I like seeing things, expand and grow over time. So
you could say like evolve.
Yeah, there you go.
Shout out to the podcast Evolve, folks.
I have no problem with seeing a game evolve. I don't want to play the same exact game I played years ago. I want the game to invoke feelings and things of that game years ago. I don't want it to be the same game. I want it to bring new people in. I want to see the community grow. And I don't want it to, and I understand like people, they really like CE gameplay. I still do too, but that's still there if you want to play it. But I also want to see things of CE and we're even seeing it in the art style of what we've seen so far.
Yep.
So we're getting this kind of nostalgic throwback. And I love that. And I could care less if it's like, okay, well, there's Sprint. Okay, fine, there's Sprint. All right, so, but it still feels like a Halo game. So it's to me, I want to see the game. Like I said, I want to see the game grow and expand and evolve. And I want to see new people come to the community because I want to share Halo with everyone. That's why why we do a podcast. That's why we do Halo Respawn. So we want to share it. We want to see the community come together, not torn apart. And I feel like Infinite, we're at this point with Infinite, it's like a make or break for Halo right now. And
it kind of is.
Yeah. And nothing against 343 and all the people working their butts off over there. But and I think they know it too. I think but at the same time, they're all passionate about Halo, and that's a good thing. It's not just developer. Well, we got to make this dumb game, Fortnite, whatever. We just got to get this out, get something out to, meet some budget.
Yeah, for the most part, with having just I guess for lack of a better word, the respect that the studio is having about people's feelings with the franchise and what they want to see, and kind of to your point, South, with making sure that we can allow room for new people to come in and allow for the play styles that the gaming industry has adopted currently. So unfortunately, that Sprint is that, people. Sprint's going to be in Infinite. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
But you want to respect people that have played the game, but you also want to keep things moving along, keep innovating, keep going with industry trends.
Yeah.
Not isolating anybody. So, and with Infinite, if you stuffed everything in it from every other Halo game, you have all the options and don't necessarily want to do that. But I think if you allow for people to customize the experience, then you can allow for that kind of stuff. So, all right, maybe the competitive folks don't want to have sprint and they just increase movement speed, or they don't want the radar, or they want radar and allies only. There's so many ways to customize the Halo experience, and there's been iterations that have added so many different things that with a new engine, they're undoubtedly keeping that kind of stuff in mind when they're going to actually make sure that, okay, this community is involved and is covered, this community is involved and covered, and all that stuff. And they're listening. I mean, look at everything that 343 has done since the unfortunate debacle of MCC launch, that they've tried to be open and be communicating with people. And you heard Bonnie Ross say it over the holidays, where their goal is to be more transparent and more open with the community, engage with the community, make sure that Halo is not just a product that they make, but something that the community likes as well. I'm going to caveat that with saying it is their freaking game. So they are more than in their right to make it however they want, and you are the one that's buying a product. And if you don't like
want
it,
to add BR, it's not the end of the world. Battle Royale, it's not the end of the world.
We'll probably do a separate podcast on this, and I'd love to have you guys back on, because you guys are huge proponents of it. There are so many possible ways. In the Halo franchise to do a BR. There's so many possibilities.
Yes. It's right in your face.
Halo is ripe for that. You have ODSTs who drop in.
Exactly. Oh my God. Exactly.
Well, here's the thing: is a lot of people are like, oh, well, if they build BR, then it's taken away from the core Halo experience. It's like, dude, what the heck are you talking about?
Then go play the regular core Halo.
I saw someone say today on Twitter, like, hey, 343, stop spending time making videos and make your games. And it's just like, guys, come on, like, it doesn't.
Oh, that frustrates me.
But it's just that attitude of if you make a new game type or mock a game type as something that's popular. Because here's the thing, my son, he's 9 years old. He loves Fortnite. He's played through Halo. He's played through the Halo games. But if he could play Battle Royale in Halo, I know he will be coming back to play Halo. It's just what it is. Like, if you want to bring new people in, you need to adopt game types. But it doesn't mean you desert those who have been there from the beginning. It just means that you're welcoming new people and you're bringing a new experience to people. And for all you know, like, I don't like BR, but for all you know, it'd be freaking awesome to drop in as ODST and kick some ass. You know what I mean? Like,
hell yeah.
I mean, it's just free for all. A big team battle, had a baby, just larger.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. I mean, I never really understood the argument as to people why they have a problem with it. I understand taking away resources. I know that was a concern for a lot of people, seeing that, if they do a BR, they're taking away pivotal resources for the core elements of the game. But you already
look what they're doing with
it's
MCC. It's Ruffian Games and Saber. Yeah,
Saber Interactive.
They're housing that out, and there's a small contingent within 343 that's working on it, but the majority of the studio is working on Infinite, even though they're still doing a lot of work with MCC. So why not contract BR out to another company? And that way, okay, you still have people working on Infinite. That's not a problem. And it, like Eric says, it's welcoming more people, and you get more people into the franchise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest thing I think Halo's miss, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because, I mean, getting the younger audience to jump into an IP that's been around for 20 years is not an easy thing at all. I have relatives and friends who have younger siblings, and they're like, what's Halo?
Mm-hmm.
Have you not heard what this thing is? That's been around for 20 years. It's a staple for many, but they don't know. They don't want to try it because it's not interesting.
Well, it's like the struggle with Disney and Star Wars right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I love it. Like, I love The Mandalorian. Like, this stuff is just, ooh, yeah. But my son, like, if it wasn't for me liking Star Wars and introducing him to Star Wars, he probably wouldn't care about Star Wars. And you have to find ways to, and Disney's been trying to find different avenues of doing it by, animated shows and things like that. And it's caught on a little bit here and there, but it's catching that attention because eventually we're going to grow old and die.
Well, made to make the way to
say it ain't so.
The morbid side of things.
An uplifting podcast.
But you know what I mean? Like, eventually, like, it needs to live on. This is a huge IP, whether it's Star Wars, Halo, whatever it is. Like, it's a huge IP, and it needs to grow on past the people who, us old farts. It needs to be passed on in a way that it respects those who grew up playing it, and it brings something great and fun to those, like, because like I want my son to have that same experience with CE, or same experience I had with CE with Infinite when he plays for the first time. I want him to go back, and I want him to have LAN parties, and whatever it is, like, I want him to do those things. And it's that balance of trying to figure out what works. And and hopefully after, third time's a charm, hopefully, because we're seeing that with MCC, they're continuing to work on it. So it gives me faith that we're going to see. It's almost like MCC is a test to see, like, okay, if Infinite is something that will continue to grow over the years, then what they're doing with MCC is a good example of what they're capable of doing. And
So this brings up an interesting point that I've heard a couple of times get thrown around over the past couple of months. Halo Infinite as a service.
Yeah, I'm all about that.
Yep. I'll throw my wallet at that.
I think I would too.
As long as we get a full game at launch.
Well,
yes.
I think that has to be a given.
Yeah.
Yeah, like as we're gonna get a story from beginning to end. It's not like we're gonna get half of it and then 6 months later we're gonna know. It's story from beginning to end. Multiplayer. Hopefully, we prefer every game type available at launch. Everyone has a option to be able to have their different in multiplayer, whether you're competitive or casual, or I want to say social. You have your way of playing. All those things at launch. A firefight, a forge, a theater, all the features that have already been in Halo. We'll want that, and then something like you could do something like Spartan Ops. You could bring that where that adds additional story or something like that. I mean,
Spartan Ops as a concept.
That's one of the biggest disappointments ever.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because I wanted.
Okay.
They tease.
That's an acceptable disappointment.
So maybe we should like set like the definition of game as a service for people. Like, if people get this idea of releasing a half-baked game on purpose to release, season passes or whatever it is, like, maybe we should explain what it means, because like Microsoft as a whole, as a company, is going through this change of things as a service. Office 365, for example, as boring as it is, it's a service, but it's continuing to grow. They continue to add new features and things like that. And so I think with Infinite, you see a game as a service. It's not like a a Fortnite where, you have a couple features, but it's like, you're getting a full game, but it's something that continues to evolve, something that continues to, new game modes and things like that, but also new, continue to add maps, continue to add a campaign, kind of like, like a season, Fortnite does the whole season thing. I'll just use that as an example, but a season where it's like, oh, here's a new, here's 6 new missions or whatever, campaign missions, and 4 new multiplayer maps and some new Forge features. Like, and then it's not something you have to pay extra for necessarily because you're paying for Xbox Game Pass or whatever. So that stuff, kind of rolls into it. But I think there's like this bad taste of game as a service, but in reality, it just means you get more out of what you paid for originally or whatever.
Yeah, and I also think that you look at MCC, their seasons is an MCC as well, right? And I think that there's a reason why that is in MCC, because they're pretty much planning on doing that route for Infinite. There's no way that they would have a season there just for fun and then be like, let's test this out, see how this works for Halo, and see if we can implement this with cosmetics. That's one way too, is like keep people coming back with cosmetics. Everyone loves it. Everyone likes to have some options, and you can have themes and different things like that. Obviously nothing crazy like what Fortnite has to offer. Call of Duty sometimes has some bizarre things that fit in the Halo universe. But have people coming back, and then like you said, like Spartan Ops, I think would be a great thing to bring back and have people coming in saying for more story. There's still story being added to the story. It might not be, maybe it's not Chief, maybe it's not from his perspective, but at least you're getting something fed in, because Spartan Ops story was great. I loved it. I loved having something afterwards and then finishing it to the end and being like, wow, look at this. I was way worth it. And I think they should have something as well. And I think Aaron Greenberg, he said something similar to this at E3 when they showed the trailer, and he talked about the title, when the title was announced, and he was talking about, infinite possibilities and infinite things that could be done with Halo and adding on to the game. And that's when everyone said, okay, games as a service. That's kind of where that thing came from. And I think we could have tons of that, and I hope for tons more.
Well, if you think about the, Microsoft is always early to the game, right? You look at the original, when the Xbox One was originally announced, the nightmare that it was for Microsoft PR. But look, the reality, what Microsoft wanted to create is happening. You know what I mean? Like, games are mostly digital now. People are streaming movies. Like, everything has gone digital. Microsoft tends to be early to the game because they're very forward thinking. And so, with what they did with Halo 4, for example, with Spartan Ops, like I have a, it to me, it would blow my mind if there wasn't something like that with Infinite, that things continue, whether it is with Chief or with, we'll just throw a Lock out there, where it's like, these side missions, with
please don't
different Spartans or whatever. I like Lock or whatever.
Have him be a side character if he's going to be in there at all.
I like Luke Cage. I don't like Lock.
Well, anyways, I was using an example. All right,
Buck. Let's give us Buck.
Okay, Buck. Yeah, that's. I make sure I said Buck. Hopefully, it comes through.
Yes, you said Buck. We got you.
Okay. All right. Well, I said Buck. Yeah. So. But anyways, it would be awesome. It would be awesome to have even like stories, like missions that take place alongside the story of Infinite. Like, they can go in either directions in the future and a little bit in the past.
Well, and something that I really appreciated about Halo 2 was the fact that you had 2 sides of the story. And I'm not sure where the story is with Halo right now, how exactly you would do that for Infinite. But if there was a campaign expansion that would have 2 sides of a story on it, that would be something that would be really enticing to me. I know there's some people that didn't like that they did that with Halo 2, but that's one of the reasons why Halo 2 is my favorite game, is because you got both sides of the story. You saw where both sides played into it and how they kind of came to this common goal. And then just added the multiplayer on there post-patch was just...
Yeah. I mean, why else? I mean, here's something that comes to mind. They have this pilot character what if he's something that's used for more storytelling like that after or during somehow you do something? If you see that video that we just recently talked about in the beginning of the recording, they show a model of like a first person view of someone's hands, human hands, not Spartan armor, and they're going back and forth. You guys with me? You guys maybe saw that and noticed that? And then they start going into the model for the pilot and all these things. Why would they have the models of his hands in a first person, or humans' hands, let me say that, in first person if they weren't going to be somehow used for gameplay? I mean, that's another possibility, using the pilot that people already really like right now and implementing them somehow to say some more story in a different angle.
When they do capture like that, they capture everything from every angle possible. So you could have just been that, but anyways, like as far as like the pilot, like, you know, like I think it'd be cool too. I'm just kind of thinking of this now. Like if we got animated, you know, shorts or whatever of like, you know, his background, his story or whatever, where, you know, like that's something that they release. It's just kind of like this multimedia type thing. It was like a game, you know, the game, but also because we've heard about for years about Halo, you know, being on a TV show or having a TV show, which is finally happening. But, you know, we had this impression that it was going to be this kind of bigger picture type thing with things tying in together. You know, Microsoft's tried that in the past. So
when does this
really
show take place in the history of, or in the chronological order of Halo?
Before the events of Halo, I think.
Yeah, because Captain Keyes is in it.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, in general, it would be cool to see, you know, some CGI
multimedia storytelling,
like cinematics, you know, 30-minute cinematics of his background or whatever it is.
Just
like,
give me Blur Studios to do it, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go all Metal Gear on Halo.
Oh, dude, I would, Metal Gear and Death Stranding. Oh yeah,
you do a lot. You do a lot of that.
But I don't know. Well, like, what for you guys? What does game as a service look like besides the typical, you know, season, things like that? Like, what would you want out of a game for as a service?
Well, the game for service, the reason why they do that is so they can have people coming in throughout throughout the year, right? So you have your quarters, you have when certain games are launching, so they try to set something out at that time, so keep people coming back to the game, usually when people drop the game. That's the whole point of that. For people who don't know why they do that, that's the reason why. And so, in my opinion, what I think you would need is, I want to say, obviously you do like the seasons thing is just something that works really well, but the whole drive for that is to bring people back. But then we could see something like, I think story being added is an important thing, and like look at Division 2, right? Division 2 is a great example. I think they do a really good job of games as a service. They have their whole year, they pan it out too, they let you know what's coming out. And I think B43 needs to do the same thing. If they're going to do games as a service, they need to say, hey, look, this is what the whole year is going to be, not have a little question mark at the next 4 or 5 months of the thing. No, they need to let people know this is what you're getting yourself into, this is what you're buying, and this is what we're going to give you. So that, because when Division 2 came out, I saw what they were going to launch. I said, holy crap, that's worth buying. Like that's a full, chunky, thick, massive game, and I'm in for it. And in 343, if they want people to really throw their wallet at Infinite, and they are going to do a games as a service, they need to say, hey, everyone, this is our whole year plan.
Isn't that basically what Bungie's been doing now with Destiny 2?
Yeah, without Activision telling them to do stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the route they started taking, and it's worked well for them. Yeah, it got me back into it.
In a way,
it's kind of
how MCC is being done on PC, I kind of envisioned that as a little bit of a games as a service, because you had Reach that came out first, and you know you're going to get the other games down the line. You could do something similar with Infinite. It's like, okay, we have the campaign. You wait 3 years. Maybe you have a little story expansion.
Or months. You probably want to wait months, not years.
Well, so, like, I'm talking about like main campaign story.
Oh, okay.
Like maybe so. Like, take Halo Wars 2. You had the 2 campaign expansions there. You had the.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah, the Awakening of the Nightmare, which was a really good campaign addition to Halo Wars 2. So maybe you have this main campaign set for Infinite. Maybe there's a couple of seasonal campaign expansions for that, and then okay, we wait 3 years for the next big campaign release. And then maybe do something like Overwatch does where, okay, you add certain new elements, whether it's a new map, a new mode, some new skins, or, I mean...
And then call it Overwatch 2.
Well, so I was going to ask about that. Is Overwatch 2 a separate game, or are they just going to add on top of Overwatch? Because I couldn't really tell. If it...
I thought they were slapping a 2 on it. That's all. I mean, I don't know. I'm not big into Overwatch.
There's not too much that's changed, but the graphics are a little different, so they'd have to do some crazy overhaul, upgrade, update.
And I think the difference between games as a service in like the seasonal,
it's Blizzard.
the seasonal approach is that, you know, usually as something as a service, you're paying monthly for it, which, you know, with Xbox Live and Game Pass, you're paying monthly for it, so you're getting the game for free, quote unquote. So it's a game as a service, opposed to, you know, going and buying a physical copy and then buying.
So I guess the as service model, I wasn't necessarily thinking of a month to month thing, but it's like, okay, you get the base game, and then you get season 1, which is all the new DLC stuff.
Yeah,
and then after a while, maybe that becomes free or something like that. And then your next seasonal unlock is more DLC. And then when you get to that time when the next campaign comes on, you buy that campaign add-on for the game. And then, so like you buy the initial platform, and then you buy the pieces that build on top of it.
Yeah, I think it will be a mixture of it, because you'll have the people who will just buy the game straight out. Then people like me who have Game Pass into like 2022 because of packs and all that, you know. All the free passes I've gotten, but like,
I'm pretty good for a while now.
But, you know, it's like, you're not, you know, based on what they have said, I don't expect to have to pay for that expansion or whatever it is. And that's where the games as a service comes in. But I feel like they're still going to have to, you know, if someone goes into GameStop or Best Buy and just buys a physical copy of the game, they're still going to have to buy DLC for it. My thing is I just hope there's not a separation like we've seen back in the day. And I don't think we will.
Halo 5 did a really good job when they said, hey, everything's going to be free. Like, we're not going to make you pay for season passes and stuff.
Yeah.
That kept the community together, and it felt good when something dropped and then everyone would get back on together and no one had to pay or no one was missing out. You know, everyone was there in on the loop and having fun together. And if you do have to pay an additional cost, you know, seasons, I guess, you know, makes sense, because look at people doing it like crazy for games like Fortnite. It has, and people do them for Fortnite, and it's not even like actual meaningful content, in my opinion. It's just a bunch of skins and stuff. And people are dropping it for that. Free
with Fortnite?
Yeah. So,
so the seasons are free, but then you have the
pay for the battle pass.
The battle pass,
skins, and
the battle pass. You're right.
Extra aesthetic pieces.
I think that you should buy Infinite at launch, $60. Collector's editions go up, you know, definitive editions and all that.
You know, I just realized, Mike, sorry to interrupt.
What's up?
Fortnite is the Funko of games.
Yeah.
I just thought of that. Oh my god, yeah. Sorry. Because they, you know, Funko, they have all these different licenses.
Everything and anyone.
And then you see with Fortnite, they're like, oh, you know, here's something, you know, Marvel. Here's something, you know, Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
They're killing it. They're killing it in the industry right now. But anyways, I think that if you're going to get Infinite, $60, and then everything keeps on coming in, and you don't have to pay anything extra for that. Once you do that, you're going to have people be divided, and you're going to have people really upset, especially if they're upset for microtransactions, and those microtransactions aren't game breaking or anything like that, and people are complaining. I think they're complaining. It's a stupid reason to complain. Just don't buy them. But people are getting so upset over that, and if they do have where you have to games as a service and you have to pay a little bit extra for this, people are going to be so mad. So they're going to have to probably figure out a way to do something where you're buying the seasons, or you're buying the seasons, but you're buying like a pass for extended stuff to keep the microtransactions coming in. But
I don't know. I feel
they
like
have to give you everything at launch, man.
Free. I feel like we're going to see the seasonal stuff or whatever free, because they will be microtransactions that will support it. Like that's what they did with Halo 5, you know, with the bright packs. But because people will buy skins or whatever you want, armor or whatever. Like people will buy that kind of stuff instead of trying to unlock it themselves.
I dropped a stupid amount of money on 5.
Well, what about the model like MCC too? Because like you look at the multiplayer stuff with Reach, it got added on for free to MCC, but you had to pay for the campaign piece. So like the seasonal stuff might be okay. You might get some customization unlocked for the season, but you might get guaranteed DLC down the road. That's what they did with Halo 2, minus the whole Awakening of the Nightmare thing that got the community in a tizzy. But you could have like, okay, you buy the season, you get access to these special customizations, or you can also let the people just buy it outright too, and then you get the DLC stuff. And then, okay, 3 years comes down the road, instead of buying a new game, you just buy the add-on or the season that contains the add-on. Content for campaign or the whatever other bonus features. So like say Warzone or Firefight is a bonus feature that's not. So keep the arena multiplayer, the traditional multiplayer free no matter what, and then you're paying for anything in addition to that. So customization, campaign, Firefight, Warzone, that kind of stuff.
You feel like I agree with you up to the point where, in my opinion, I feel like having Firefight, like everyone should have access to Firefight. That I don't think that should be something exclusive to a price. I think a feature of the game should be available at day one. Like we were talking about, everything available at launch, right? Campaign, multiplayer, Firefight, Forge, for game launch, I think all that stuff. Yeah, well, and then like I guess
they could support the whole like the idea of everybody has the new maps for free. It's like the end multiplayer. They can support that with season campaigns or all the cosmetic stuff like that could be supported by the money that's spent on that, instead of, so that way multiplayer isn't there isn't different
hindered.
And so I feel like with campaign, like I have no problem paying for a campaign, which I'm assuming also would be free with Game Pass, but I wouldn't have a problem if I was just buying Halo and I didn't have Game Pass. I wouldn't have a problem wanting to get more of the story, and but I think I would have a problem with map packs and going back to that old, the old way of it.
Well, and I think for most people, I mean, majority of the community stays because of multiplayer. They don't stay for the campaign year over year over year. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, if you had to do that to multiplayer, that would just wreck everything that I think we're trying to rebuild.
Yeah. Also, I think, Eric, you have a good point there, is that keeps people coming and paying for Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Infinite's a huge title that people would, consider either that or they end up just buying the game. But if they paid that many months for Game Pass, they're probably just going to keep on doing Game Pass. For those who don't have any access codes or anything like that for that, they're just going to keep on going. And that kind of milks that too. And they could use Infinite as a way of keeping people with the service, right? We're going to make this game out of this world so that people keep on paying for the Game Pass service. And they'll get everything else too. And I feel like that's what they'll be doing with not just that, but their other exclusives as well.
Yeah. And we're going to see Game Pass on PC blow up when Infinite comes out too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's going to blow up.
And other games that are going to be launching too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know the population for MCC on PC's dropped, but it's still up there on the Steam games, right? Isn't it?
It's still pretty stable. Last I checked.
I think it's still in the top 10-ish. I think. I don't remember the last time I checked was a couple weeks ago. So.
All right. Well, so let's get into something else. What about? I think we talked about equipment, for example, in Infinite. I would love to see that come back. I've been saying that forever. What are some, Dustin? What are some equipments that we haven't seen in Halo that you think will be a good addition?
That we haven't seen.
If they did that.
Ooh.
Yeah, like something brand new.
Oh wow. That's a tricky one.
You haven't thought about it yet. You haven't thought about it. Or also the concept.
I thought of some of the ones that I would like to see back, like the trip mine.
Oh yeah, the trip mine
would be a little
bit
more lethal.
And the radar jammer, maybe the radar jammer. I'm thinking of like holograms too, like adding armor abilities into the mix with it too. In a sense. Well, why don't you think of? I thought of this. I was talking about this not too long ago. Is treating them, equipment. They get spawned up on the map. But you can have like a twist with them. like instead of dropping it and leaving it somewhere, it's applied as an armor ability, right? So like wherever you go, you are the radar jammer, right? Or wherever you go, you are the power drain. And there's nerfs and there's things to that, right? Maybe as you're the power drain, that slows you down a lot, maybe. But like a way where you add those equipment as armor effects or abilities to your character.
I don't want.
I personally don't think. Yeah.
Really?
I would rather have items on the map. So like, yeah, I'd rather have items on the map.
No. Like you have to go find it on the map, and then once you find it, you can apply it. But it's like on you as you apply it.
I don't think I would do that with things like radar jammer or power drain. I see what you're saying though, like kind of like in Halo Wars 2 where you have a unit that has a healing ring around it and maybe you are the healing, like, so like take the healing effect of the bubble shield from Reach, but make it to where that effect is around you and you're like a healer.
Exactly. And it's very limited. It's very nerfed. It's balanced. You know, it's not like as long as it was in Halo 3, but something like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. I'd have to see it in action because I think I would still be more comfortable with the Halo 3 equipment style where it's deployed.
Drop it.
Yeah.
Because I think if you attach it to yourself,
it's more strategic.
I think if you attach it to yourself, it becomes, you start getting into that class base, which I know Halo fans do not want a class-based shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other games that do that. I think putting that into Halo is, you can only do so much before it. Yeah.
I think it would take away from the map control of the multiplayer. Like it would take away from that. Like the whole point of knowing when something is spawning and how to get there in time. And, snipers up in, 10 seconds, trying to control the weapons on the map. That is the essence of Halo multiplayer, is the, controlling of, like, and I didn't learn that until very later on, that's what a very important part of the Halo multiplayer experience was learning how to control the weapons on the map and trying to get those first. And
so do you guys think,
weapons or, power-ups, whatever.
So do you guys think that equipment should take the place of armor abilities, or should there be a way to put them both into play?
I think there's some armor abilities that you can keep, like sprint.
Well, that's a Spartan ability, right? Like,
well, it's both technically.
Yeah.
But, well, okay. So you mean armor ability is most specifically a pickup or a swap out? You're talking about.
So Reach.
Yeah. Like if you're gonna have equipment, then is having armor abilities in the mix too much, right? Or should you like give one for the other?
I think armor abilities kind of. I think one of the reasons why they're frowned upon a little bit in Reach is because it did go to that kind of class-based style, which
people aren't a fan of.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't quite a fan of.
Yeah, that's what I don't like about Reach. To be honest with you, I don't Reach multiplayer. Like to me, if it didn't have that, I feel like it would be better. If it kept sprint, and that was it.
Comp Reach multiplayer is great. Competitive.
Yeah, because everyone has the same stuff.
Any of that stuff.
Yeah, everyone has. And for competitive, you need that. For casual, it's a little bit different story.
It's true, but then like I get it, because like when I'll play with armor abilities, it's there's times where it's like, oh, okay, this makes sense, but there's some times where I'm just like, oh, I'm getting really frustrated with everybody in the air with jetpack right now. Like everybody's there, and it's really annoying right now.
Or armor lock.
Armor lock, which is I think should be erased from Halo history. I hate it so
Someone mentioned this. I don't remember if it was in like one of our live stream chats or on a Discord or a tweet or something, but people were talking about wanting to put the deployable turret, the one that you can pick up in campaign, but make that a deployable equipment.
The Sentinel turret?
Well, it doesn't have to be this. Well, I would personally say it doesn't have to be the Sentinel turret necessarily, but
like a UNSC version of that?
Yeah, maybe like a little auto turret that you can put out. And as I was thinking about it, another interesting little equipment piece might be like a remote radar or like a motion tracker. So like you deploy it on a corner where you think someone might be, and then you can walk away, and then you get a ping.
Oh, and it leaves something behind?
Yeah, and then you get a ping whenever someone crosses it. So like think if you're on the pit
and
everyone is over on like spawning on Sniper Tower, someone's running down Rocket Hall. Oh, they just got rockets.
Yeah, you get the attention for that. Yeah,
that'd
be cool.
Strategic part.
That'd be a good one, and that's not too much too. That's just the right amount. Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
I will say, my thing with what I really liked about Halo 5 was that I felt like playing. You feel like a Spartan, with the sprint, with clamber,
ground pound, all that.
Being able to get through the map really quick and move around. Like I know a lot of people don't like that, but to me, I was gonna say though, like I don't have a problem if they decided to add those abilities like armor lock, for example, to campaign, but left that out of multiplayer. Like to me, it's like, okay, you're playing this badass Spartan who can do these things, but you're telling me I can't sprint.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I don't have a problem.
You know how many people are going to be mad that they can't use that one thing they had in campaign and use it in multiplayer, at least for a custom game or something?
Yeah. Well,
just leave it out of the playlist side of things, and you're fine there.
Yeah, exactly. Let you do it in customs, but not in matchmaking.
Yeah, because there's a lot of things that customs have been built upon that you might not want in matchmaking or campaign, and that's totally fine. I think there is room for infinite possibilities. Again, going back to that thing of being able to add things to the game, but not necessarily have them. So have them available for custom, but not necessarily have them impact the other core experiences of the game, like arena multiplayer, the competitive stuff, and campaign, or then whatever other game modes that are out there. So,
yeah, I agree.
We should probably take a pause on this conversation because we've been talking for almost an hour, a little bit more than that. And the reason that we have you guys on, we haven't even touched yet. That might be helpful.
That might be a little bit.
So you guys are the founders of a new community called Halo Respawn. Yes. Mm-hmm. So
maybe.
I don't have a shirt yet, sure. So I guess I can't say
you're still responding.
He doesn't have a shirt yet.
Still responding on that?
Yeah, still working on it. Yeah, he's suicided, so it takes a little longer for Eric to get back on, but it's okay. We'll get there.
All right. Is he good?
Let's see. The suspense. Da-da-da-da.
The suspense is killer.
Da-da-da-da.
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 His video's like
very much.
He's still here. Just his video's frozen.
Mean mugging. Yeah, he's mean mugging. Look at that. It's a very serious face.
Yes, it is.
Also, while we're waiting,
took a picture of that for
we'll put it on Twitter. We were talking about the population. It was a question about the population of Reach on PC, where it's sitting right now. We're looking around 6,000, like a daily peak, right over 6,500. So that right now that puts Master Chief Collection at like 72 out of.
Okay, so it's
the list.
So it's down.
So it's dropped. It's down. Yeah. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is beating Halo Master Chief Collection right now.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
But I will say, Skyrim is just barely beating us.
Mike, at this point, you might as well just turn your camera off.
Yeah, you're right.
Save some battery that way.
Save some battery. Yeah, but we could go all day talking about multiplayer speculations when it comes to Infinite. I mean, we're really grabbing for straws at this point. It's been so quiet, but I think Master Chief Collection is really giving us a tease as to what I think we can expect as far as the service end of things can expect.
Well, I just want to know when you guys. And I guess we can get into why we're even on this podcast in the first place. What do you guys speculate or think we will see something Infinite related? Like I feel like E3 is too far away.
I think within the next 2 months, easy. I don't see why there wouldn't be some sort of tease or something.
They're still supposed to get a beta, right?
I feel like the announcement trailer left a lot of pieces on the table for them. I mean, I know a lot of people talk about Hunt the Truth, and we talk about I Love Bees and stuff like that. I feel like that has to happen leading up to the big announcement.
Yeah.
I feel like that has to be in the cards somewhere. Because, I mean,
is there any other events coming up? Like
GDC, right?
GDC.
Yeah, but GDC is not really a convention where people
for gaming.
Well, it's for gaming, but it's for the development and technical side of gaming. It's not to showcase anything new. GDC's never really revealed anything.
Maybe they'll just do their own thing. That seems to be the popular thing among the industry right now. It's just doing their own thing, announcing something, and say, "Hey."
Well, that brings me, and I know this hasn't been touched on, but we talked about Battle Royale, which I'm going to touch on. Something that we all know, Ninja. That whole move to Mixer. I mean, we got to know. I mean, he's even saying he's going towards his roots. Do you think we could see something there with Ninja making some surprise announcement on a stream at some event? Is that a possibility that we might see?
Not as much as he already did with Gears 5. You'll see something like what he did with Gears 5. Early access, getting everyone hyped up and watching, and right before launch, pre-ordering the game and getting ready to buy the game.
He'll be streaming something after, whether it's a beta or whatever, multiplayer beta. He'll be doing something after that's announced. I feel like they're going to put on a big show for this.
There's no way the media outlets are going to let Ninja get first stabs at releasing new content about Halo Infinite.
They paid him some money, but it's not that much.
So, didn't IGN first reveal a lot about either Halo 4 or Halo 5? Like, wasn't that at one point like a major reveal piece for one of the Halo games? Yeah, IGN first.
I'm kidding.
Oh.
2 out of 10 comment.
That's pretty much when they started doing how long have they been doing the IGN first thing? I think it was Halo 4. With 5, what they did was, with 5, we got stuff really early, and then everyone had beta access, a year before the game actually
11 months.
11 months, almost a year. Yeah. So, and we haven't, there's no flights.
Which is crazy, because they've mentioned, too, that they've wanted to do betas and this flights, flighting now with the community. And at this point, it's like,
they need to start.
We're going to need something soon. So I think you're right, man. I think it has to be within the next couple of months. It has to be by April.
It would not make sense for them not to. If they're going to string us on a line until June, I mean that's
nope. Yeah, that's nope. We got to see something before that.
It's way too.
As far as maybe campaign stuff till E3, I could see that, but nothing at all.
Well, you know what? Was it this time last year that they were dropping information about Outpost?
February last year.
February of last year. Now, obviously, there's hopes that returns. Could we see something relative to some mixture of Infinite and maybe some potential Outpost Discovery event? So, I'm saying, pushing it into the modern day where we're at with Halo and putting in maybe some snippets, just little teases before the big announcement. You know what I'm saying?
It's possible.
That's one idea that pops in my
mind. At this point, it's going to have to be at a minimum teases until E3 or some other big announcement event. But it's gonna have to be something.
Definitely by March or April.
Now, Kevin, our Halo collector in the chat, saying Sony's supposed to have something in March. So if Xbox, I guess, is smart and knows that's coming, then because for the Xbox One. Wasn't necessarily announced, but it was kind of like a follow-up. Xbox had their own special announcement thing. Maybe they'll do that for Halo and the console, because Halo's supposed to be a launch title for the console, so maybe it'll be a whole Xbox type stream where they talk about the console, they talk about Halo, they talk about other launch titles and new services that'll come with the console, 4K, yada yada yada. Maybe it'll be a separate event.
Possible. Has Microsoft ever done surprise inside Xbox events?
They've done surprise announcements, but they've never done special streams. So, with the whole MCC announcement, that was a big thing, but it was still regularly scheduled inside Xbox.
Scheduled program.
Yeah.
I thought for sure we were going to get something on the event back in November. I thought for sure we were going to get something then.
I'm surprised it's been this long.
I was expecting something at the Video Game Awards, honestly.
Yeah.
It was the Microsoft Theater. They obviously announced or showed off the Series X, so there was a big reveal. But, because I definitely wasn't expecting that when they announced that.
No.
But I was at the very least expecting to see the campaign trailer or something. Like,
yeah, I'm going to put my foot down and say they've got to do something by the end of March somehow. There's no reason that shouldn't happen. At least a snippet. We need something.
Yeah, you're right. They got to do something. I
mean, it's tough because you're trying to string along publicity for a new game that obviously, one, to keep the community entertained and keep on talking instead of talking about Sprint every 2 minutes. You're going to have to give us something because we can only talk about Sprint
so much. Yeah,
exactly. Well, the game comes out this year. Like
and that's the thing.
We've seen, like Cyberpunk, for example. That obviously was pushed off, but that game was announced years ago, and we've seen detail of like what's happening within the campaign and the story.
And that's the thing I think also scares a lot of people in the community now, especially even with we're seeing it's a whole other thing with leads or heads of or this department or directors leave, and then there's all these openings. It's like, are we worried? Is that why they're being so quiet? There's that discussion that's being had, and do you think there's going to be a delay? I wouldn't see why that would. I don't see Microsoft doing that, delaying Halo.
Yeah, they've already promised that it was a launch title, and they're banking on that because in a sense, this is a reboot for Xbox, a reboot for Halo, and it would suck if they missed, the mark on that because, back to we have Xbox, no longer Xbox One, it's just Xbox that happens to have a version, Series X or S or whatever. So it's like a reboot of a lot of things. So I'm hoping, with Infinite, that's kind of how I'm hoping that it's kind of like a reboot or, rebirth of Halo, and they can't miss it. But we also need to see something.
I think, as I mentioned before, I feel like we could hear or even see something relative to the Hunt the Truth or I Love Bees. But
please,
in tangent,
please, yes.
Because, God, we need that.
Give me I Love Bees too.
Give me I Love Bees 1,000 times and I'll be happy.
And the way that the internet finds things out so quickly nowadays.
Well, that's what was so great about the announcement trailer. The codes in the HUD, that whole thing. People were talking about that for literal weeks and still finding stuff new. So, I don't even know if we found everything. And then that snippet of Cortana audio that came out, talking about that. And so we had quite a bit, but just something, just a little something. Yeah. That's all we need.
When was, honestly, I would expect it to see something by now. Any other game that's coming out, you've seen something by now.
Yeah.
You've seen gameplay. You've seen whether it's,
this might just be the best kept secret in all gaming history then. This is what's happening.
I think that award goes to Half-Life 3 forever.
Well, yes.
Now,
you're not wrong.
There's someone who just recently sent me this not too long ago. If you go to 343 Careers, you'll see there's a couple of job listings on there.
Yes.
There's something for engineering. There's a lead engineer, senior software engineer, lead software engineer, a couple of those. And then you have character, so you have for design, and then you have 4 other roles open for art. And then you have 3 for production. Overall, you're looking around 15 different roles that are missing. Or not missing, that are available right now. And so that makes you wonder, okay, why are those roles available now and they weren't available earlier? Or they weren't shown up earlier? Did some people from D43 leave? Is this for a secret project? What's going on here? Why are there so many of these roles needed now?
And again, I think that could fall in on what we were talking about earlier. How we have certain expansions, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
These could be for those specific things, not the essential core that we're expecting. So that's where those could come.
Well, usually there's a ton of listings on there on the website. I've looked at it a few times over the past couple of years, and there's usually a ton of them on there. So they're constantly hiring people. Mm-hmm. It's almost like especially the gaming industry, it's just people and me being a software developer, not in the gaming industry, but I can relate to it. A lot of people move to other positions because that's how they get a raise. You know what I mean? In the industry, people are quick. It's normal to see someone have a year at some studio or development firm or whatever. It's normal to see them only have a year.
And especially in today's age, things shift so quickly. In 6 months, it's pretty.
There's a role here I'm seeing that just popped up for a busboy. So Eric, if you want,
I'll take anything. I'll take anything. I'll go clean people's shoes.
I'll go make pizza.
Yeah.
So let's kill this conversation and respawn talking about what you guys are all about.
Oh,
yeah,
like some buffing some shoes.
What about shoes?
So what are
buffing
some
cleaning?
Shoe shine.
Oh, that's what it's called. Shoe shine. Yeah.
So Matt, since you're the founder, the head honcho,
That's a thing.
Who are you?
what made you start Halo Respawn?
Well, it was a dream of mine when I was young. No.
When you were a young boy?
Why? When I was a young warthog, actually. Puma. No, so the whole thing behind Halo Respawn was actually around this time last year with the announcements of Halo Infinite and Outpost Discovery coming. It kind of got the itch back to get back into Halo after being away for probably since Halo 4. I really didn't touch Halo 5 much the past 4 or 5 years. And I come back, and a lot of the communities that I was a part of back in the day, like Riftball Hub, that had a really big impact on me, have ceased to exist, and everybody's everywhere now. And I know, Dustin, we mentioned on Twitter, we'll get into, about segmenting the community. And that's kind of where I felt things have been, the community's really focused in on YouTube, Twitter's one thing, Discord's definitely made things a lot different. There's 100 podcasts now. But I really find it hard to find a central place where people can really have connections that's not just on the Halo Waypoint site where it's heavily moderated and, the community stuff's not essentially shared all the time. So I was like, well, if I want it, I'm just going to have to do it. So that's kind of the idea. I just wanted a place where really the Halo community can come together again, and for new people that are entering the Halo world to find these communities that they might enjoy. So I kind of want us to be a bridge or a hub. I don't know if you remember, was it Halo
Ring?
Halo Ring. It's kind of that concept that Firestream had back in the day. And I kind of thought of that. I was like, man, that was a good concept. It just didn't pick up because obviously the community at that point was kind of on a downhill spiral because we're Halo was at.
Yeah.
And, I felt the need, well, let's give something a shot. So that's kind of what Halo Respawn's about, is trying to be the bridge community in the central hub. Did I say something funny?
No, Eric's face just makes me crack up every time I look at it, so I try to look away.
Oh. No. But, well, I mean, Eric's a funny dude.
I got a barf bag right here just in case I look at yours, Mike.
He sent me a picture of that onesie again, and I just got distracted.
Oh, well. We can put that out there.
Just start getting some Halo Respawn merch with the onesie.
You know what?
You gotta put everyone's gamer tag on the butt.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, Jesus. We gotta get on that before Microsoft Gear does.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where the heart came from as far as the idea.
I can't get that out of my head now. Thank you.
Yeah, it's ruined. It's ruined now.
This is Halo Respawn.
Gives a new definition to Respawn, doesn't it?
Yeah,
unifying the community with shenanigans added onto it.
And onesies.
Hey, Halo and shenanigans. Perfect marriage. So
Totally.
But yeah, that's kind of the concept of where Halo Respawn came from. It's just kind of the communities of old. And I know I've seen a lot of people talk about, kind of chronicling the discussions that we have in the Halo community. Again, it's a lot now in microblog mediums like Twitter and Discord. Things get forgotten, and it's hard to go back and find specific things. So the forum aspect, being able to go back and have a very organized place for people to go to was important, and also getting a place for these young communities that people don't know about, a place to kind of breathe and actually show their faces and not get lost in the mess that we have on Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that. So that's kind of the idea, among other things.
That's very ambitious given the current day and age of the Halo communities. And like you mentioned, we talked about on Twitter a little bit, but there's just so many different things out there. I mean, I have in Discord.
We do have a plan B.
That might be for another podcast. Onesies. But like just looking at like I don't know how many Discord servers I'm a part of because
I know.
One of the things that we try to do with Podtacular is try to make sure that we're on top of all different kinds of events and projects. So like we like right now I think I'm in like 12 or 13 different independent Halo project servers, and we're trying to get them all on the show.
Mm-hmm. There
are like 3 or 4, 5 different custom game related or forging servers. Like there's just so much Halo content out there, and it's like, how do you keep track of all of it? And it just
and I will say it's with Respawn, it seems like it's not. We don't want to be the group that constantly reaches out to other people. We want to be welcoming to people who are willing to, like, hey, here's a platform for you to show off. And we have a bigger pipe dream for Respawn in general. Like we don't want to just be where we're at now with website. Like we have major plans for the website and to expand it and be a hub of I hate to use that word, but just a place for
a beacon. Would you say?
Matt was saying, like we don't want to do
a Respawn point.
Yeah, we don't want to do like the typical forum, but we want to do something that is archived in a sense. Because like you look at Discord, I hate to say it, but like Reddit, for example, like I can sit there and Google something, blah 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 blah, Reddit, and find something related to that thing on Reddit that people are talking about. Mm-hmm. Really hard to do that with Discord. So it's like trying to find the mix between, we're still trying, as far as the website stuff, we're still trying to figure out like, where do we go in this world of everything else? Like how can we build something for the Halo community and possibly beyond, in the future, without creating without recreating Reddit or recreating Discord? Like what can we create? So that's the process we're in now, is like brainstorming and trying to figure out what we can do. And it just happens to be that, we have a passion for Halo. So that's our focus. And, it can expand outside of that later on. But right now, our core focus is let's build something good for the Halo community. And I feel like that, it's a pipe dream. Hopefully we build something awesome, but something that can be awesome for the gaming community as a whole. I mean, because it's just like we're talking about before the podcast, like, Byte just came out. So there's always something new, whether it's social media or, gaming, like, the chat services that people use for gaming are just constantly changing. But what it is like, you think about Discord, for example, it's nothing new in a sense. I mean, it's not really anything special. They just found their, niche. Yeah. They found that in the gaming community, and it's grown outside of that. And, there's people who, I have a Discord that I run is for people who collect action figures and stuff. Like they don't, it's nothing related to gaming, but it's grown outside of that. And hopefully with Respawn, it can be more than just Halo, but our passion is in Halo. And that is what's driving what we want to build. We don't want to just be a podcast. We don't want to just be, whatever. But like, we want to build something for the community. And if it goes somewhere, it'd be great. And we're like, we don't want to say too much on what we're planning on doing. But
the same way that D43 is not saying too much about Infinite.
Yeah.
Well, I said a lot more than 343 did about Infinite.
Give people something other than waiting for months.
Yeah.
I mean, and as you mentioned, Dustin and Eric, you both mentioned it, a pipe dream. It's a very ambitious project. And that's something that I've always kind of done. I've always come up with these big ideas in a sense that might be a little overkill. But I feel like...
I feel you there. So there's so many that I've done the same thing with. And like... Now I have a bot, and I made a Twitter account, and I've announced that, hey, I'm making a bot. Maybe before my time, but...
But I mean, the thing is...
To be sentient soon. Gosh, I cannot talk.
It's getting late. I know.
But it's one of those things where, again, it was kind of inspired from the days of old. I mean, I think for a lot of us, having those, you could just hop on. You're like, hey, who wants to have a game night?
Yeah.
Oh, this community is having a game night. Where do people go for that anymore?
I have plans for that, but I won't discuss that here.
Not yet.
Right. I mean, for me, it's like, maybe I'm only involved in one specific sector of the Halo community, and I only know about their games. What about this other community that I have no idea about?
It's like, so difficult. Yeah. You're right on the money there. It's so it's so hard.
So that's kind of what we kind of want to do. We kind of want to funnel it into a focused area where people can go. It's like, you want to know what's happening in the Halo community? This is where you go. You want official Halo news? Waypoint's the perfect place for that. But there's not a place where the community can just go to as a resource for community stuff. And that's kind of what we want to be. And, a lot's going to go into that. One thing that I've talked about briefly on Twitter, and I'm sure some people have seen, is the idea that I've called the community index. Basically listing the prominent, I use the word prominent, but Halo communities that
are active,
that are continuously active, fostering the growth of the Halo community. Those are the people that we want listed. So if somebody's new to Halo and, somebody's like, hey, are you new to Halo? Go to Halo Respawn. They go to this part of the site. Literally, you want to know a website you can go to build Halo costumes. Okay, 4 and 5th. You want to know what Halo podcasts are out there? There's a category for that. You want to know official Halo links? There's a category for that. You want to know what Halo fan game projects are out there? Holy crap. Like, when I came back to the Halo community about a year ago, and I found that there's all these fan games and mods, I was like, this is really freaking cool. I had no idea this is out there. And we just featured a
mobile game.
Mobile game today on our website today.
We're actually hoping to have him on the podcast soon.
Spartan Firefight,
It's called Spartan Firefight, and I was playing it today for the first time, and I should have been working. I spent about half an hour on it because I'm like, this is actually really fun, and it's on my phone.
Did you ever play the original?
I'll be honest, I've spent a few church hours playing Spartan Runner, because that was
Spartan Runner was the OG,
But it's stuff like that. There's so much in the Halo community because it's so big now. I mean, when you're around for almost 20 years, it's going to be pretty massive. And especially as a big IP as Halo is. And, for me, again, I'm going to mention Gripball Hub. For me, that community did things so well. Cal Bulgarian and Goose Checker did an incredible job with Gripball Hub and bringing in people and showcasing the community as a whole. Because even within the Gripball community, there were little subsections. We had comics. We had Gripball Racing League. There were subsections, but the community members were allowed to share their work on the front page of that site. So that's kind of what we want to do. We want to be able to share that information on our front page, stuff like that. We want the community to come to us and we'll be like, yeah, let's share your work. Let's share what you're about, what you want to do for Halo, because at the end of the day, we want to grow Halo's community further for another 20 years. Because for me, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, or even what I'm doing as my vocation, without Halo.
Yeah,
like Halo literally directed me into the world that I live.
I hope it works out too, because kudos to you for actually taking the step, because it's something that I've always had in the back of my mind since Halo 4 was doing something similar to what you guys are doing. You guys are off to a great start with it, but yeah, there's not a very good spot today, and even like with Halo Ring, it kind of filled in a void, but it wasn't updated, and it was a cool concept, but nothing was really done to be a front door into the Halo community.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and you're right, it's a very, very tall order to take on.
It's a pretty tall, a pretty tall order, but I think one of the things that really stand out is when you get over to these events, Outpost, for example, and you get to network with the developers, with D43, with the community. When you get that interaction, it makes all these things a lot more important, and it makes them last longer.
Well, and that's something that was really cool about the timing about all this for me, because to be quite honest with you, if I didn't go to Halo Outpost, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. I met Mike at Halo Outpost. Never knew who Mike was. Was actually at the community panel
with
oh yeah,
Vince Gall and
I was there too. We didn't. Me and Matt didn't meet.
I didn't.
I
I went to talk to Dan after the podcast. I mean, the panel, and I came over and just joined in the circle we had there talking about the community. I was talking about Halo Respawn, and then I forget how we got on it, but Mike and I started talking and said, "Hey, let's hang out later."
So we did the Dave and Buster's meetup.
Writing Spartan. Yeah, we did a
Dave Buster's that meetup.
Spartan. That was a fun one.
We
did that.
Me and Claude were basically like tied at the hip that whole trip, and we were because we walked back late with Frankie actually because it was after we did like the laser tag after everything was closed. So we were walking back to the hotel with Frankie, and then we went to go get dinner, and then Green Skull had mentioned, "Hey, we're going to Dave and Buster's."
Yeah.
So like, okay, we got an Uber, we rode there. And of course, all the tables were filled. So me and Claude got our own table, and then we're talking about all these young guns and whatnot.
Claude made his way over to our table at one point.
Yeah, that was cool.
So we were sitting there, and I was with Writing Spartan Jordan, and told him about the vision and Mike, and so we're like, yeah, let's do this thing. So then Mike introduced me to Eric right after Halo Outpost, and we actually hung out the next night at another. It was like a go-kart place, but we all hung out, played games, and talked about it again. And we all sat down and said, yeah, when we get home, let's make this thing happen. And since then, I mean, Mike and Eric have been holding down the fort with the podcast that a lot of us had to take kind of a break at the end of last year because there's so much was going on. But, I mean, to find people that are just as passionate about Halo and having the same vision that I had was very important to making this thing actually a reality, and also to have them have the skill set. Like, as Eric is a developer, Mike's really good at
networking.
And so that's another thing too. I mean, Mike can talk about that tonight or even another time about some of the stuff we've done with the Microsoft stores that we've talked about with them. So there was a lot of opportunities, even like grassroots Halo community building within Microsoft stores is something that we even want to attempt. And the overarching thing here is that we want people to join us here on our crew to help make this a reality, because this is not something that a team right now, it's about a team of 5 or 6 of us that are really pulling the load here, and it's tough because we all have lives.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
But we have a really big vision, and at the end of the day, we love Halo.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make this thing happen. So if people want to join in with us, contact us and let us know what you want to do, and we'll have that discussion.
We definitely need developers right now.
Mm-hmm.
Developers, community people. We want to help run socials, designers, people who want to write, help curate and find those stories that are in the Halo community, and those people
and showcase those,
be showcased. Yeah, because again, there's so much that not all of us can do that. If I didn't work 2 jobs, I'd be doing all the work. But
I feel you there.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of potential stuff in the future. I mean, I'll share that Microsoft story. I'm here in Miami. Dayland Mall is one of the malls here in South Miami, and there's a Microsoft store there. There's not many of them here in Florida. So I'm communicated with their games expert over there and spoke to him, let him know about what we were doing with the Halo Respawn and just the vision of that. After a couple of conversations, they invited me over to one of the grassroots community game nights, hung out, and then they said, hey, do you want to host the next one? I was like, what do you mean? It was like, you want to be the hype man for the next grassroots event? I was like, yo, count me in, man. Let's do this. So it went really, really well. That was right at our, I think, our 3rd episode of recording, where I was able to actually get some feedback. That's when the Cortana audio clip got released. So I was able to it was shortly after Outpost, and I was able to get some recording from fans. And so what was really cool was getting to talk to these guys face to face, letting them know about what's going on in the Halo community, and being like, hey, you know what, head over to Halo Respawn, because they were so out of the loop, completely out of the loop. And I realized, wow, Halo Respawn is really important, because these guys are excited for Infinite. They just don't know anything about it yet. There's nobody there telling them. They don't know where to look. They don't know other communities they can be a part of. And so going over there, having the opportunity, it blew up, and then they said, hey, you know what, we'll have a Surface laptop playing your guys' podcast. Every time we have a Halo event, we'll just play it on loop. and we'll put that out there for you and have people there. And I said, oh man, I mean, that's awesome. And then they said, yeah. And the next conversation was, hey, we'll buy some pizza and we have some drinks. And next Halo event that we have going on, we'll have a little bit more people, hype them up, and then they'll have pizza, and they'll bring people coming in and buying products and stuff like that. I said, hey, sounds great. And then I went to them and I said, hey, why don't we do something a little bit more intense? Let me get you the vector files of our stuff. Why don't we put Halo Respawn right next to what you guys got going on? And when you guys live stream, you can put our stuff out there and we can talk about what we're doing here and try to be like a banner in the sense of, hey, everybody come over here, connect with the rest of the Halo community. They're like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it. And then it went from one thing to another. And then the games expert said, hey, if you ever have any events at any public locations, we'll bring our consoles to you guys, and we can host a LAN party and we can make something happen. And I was like, it just kept on snowballing, man.
And wow. And even on that point there too, that's another thing I want to talk about, was the competitive Halo scene. There's a lot of unknown Halo LAN party tournaments that happen. There's one here in Southwest Florida that happens every year. And I'm like, well, I didn't know about this. We could have done something with you guys, actually promoted this thing. It's a classic Halo 1 tournament. And there's even like community groups like Midwest Halo. I just recently saw that follows us on Twitter. Mm-hmm. Like there's all these sub-communities, and even on the international scale, there's Halo Creation, which is another Halo community that's out there. It's the French community. Yep. They want to get on this. The Spanish Halo community, Mexican Halo, they want to get involved with us. So it's like there's a lot for us to do. And again, if we can have a place where we can show events that are happening around the world for people that are part of these communities to see, like, hey, you're in Indiana. Hey, look, there's a Halo tournament happening that you probably had no idea about. That's how you make these relationships. Because at the end of the day, we want people to make friends, lifelong friendships, mm-hmm. and have impacts in each other's lives. Because, meeting these guys has been an absolute blast. And it's just been an incredible journey, even in the short time we've even been around.
I don't know. Meeting Mike has been a nightmare.
Well,
Eric just doesn't shut up, and his face is so annoying.
It's funny. It's funny because Mike and I have known each other for a while, and we met through gaming, and we finally met in person at Outpost, and it was funny because like this around the same time I'm thinking about, man, I really want to do a podcast. And I was like, I'm gonna reach out to Mike about seeing if you want to do a podcast, because he's got a big mouth too, so we could talk. Yeah. So we both like to talk. Mike is I'm more of the more reserved person when it comes to like public out there. But Mike, he was like bouncing around like, hey man, Halo's cool. Just like, the hype man. And I'm just like, all right, this let's do a podcast with this guy because he's got the energy that I don't. And
well, that was the thing when I first met Mike at Outpost. I was like, this guy's like, hey man, do you wanna come meet Frankie? Do you wanna come meet these guys? And I was like, who are you? But dude, he's got the connections. But it was just like, I didn't go into that event expecting to make close friends like that so quickly. Like I was expecting to go finally meet people that I've talked to online, like you, Dustin, and Dan, and even Claude, like just to meet some of the people that I've seen over the years. And it's just become this really cool thing. And that's what Outpost was about. And for it to actually like happen and see it expand to where it is now, it's all these different communities started popping up during Outpost. And at the end of the day, we want to be able to just help facilitate the growth of the community. And that's really what we want to do. And whether that's, again, showing events that are going on, live streams that are going on, share content creators' latest videos, whatever it may be, that's our goal at the end of the day.
And we just love this community. We love the people. I consider them family. The more and more I get to know more of the Halo community, the more and more they become family to me. And it's a great community to be a part of.
Amen to that.
And dude, it's just incredible. And every time it's like Thanksgiving. Each of these events are like a Thanksgiving. Like, okay, we're gonna go meet up. The difference is you actually enjoy it.
Well, what's interesting is you bring that up, like your friends meeting friends through the community and everything. Like Halo was a really big part of my life because I moved, without going to my story again, I moved to Illinois. Didn't really have any friends. I met one of my best friends through playing Halo. Like, I went to his house. He was playing Halo. I was like, what the heck is that? This is awesome. And, I kind of fell off for a bit. And then I got really hyped again because of MCC. And, I've met, so many people that, I talk to more than I talk to some real life people. Really. And I've had opportunities, be able to go 343, being able to sit there and talk to Marty O'Donnell, watching him watch himself talk to Steve Vai, just it's like my 13-year-old inner self was like, this is awesome. But it's like, I've had so many opportunities through the Halo community to really connect and meet people who've been a part of something that has meant a lot to me, whether they're people who created it or people who've been in that community that I didn't know about. And, I've made so many great connections and friends, and I haven't had that from any other community.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that doesn't exist in other communities, but it means a lot more to me, not only because I care about the franchise, but the people overall in the Halo community are awesome. Just like any other community, you don't have your mics and
which are not that great.
I love you,
which are not that great. I get it.
Bad response.
Anyways, it's just something about the Halo community that's really special. A lot of it has to do with nostalgia. It means a lot to me, but my first time going to PAX and everybody that I got to meet, and I've made connections with that I feel like are going to last for a very long time, but not forever.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing I've noticed too. It's like that one really close friend that you have that you don't talk to all the time, but then when you talk to him, you can't get him. You guys just can't shut up. Like, you just keep talking.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, I don't have to talk to Haas every day, but we get together at PAX, we can have some really good conversations and talk.
Yeah.
For a while. Layered. I guess Mike now.
I guess we'll see. See how long that lasts.
We'll see how it goes down the road.
Yeah, but it's just cool. Like, this last PAX, seeing projects people were working on, like people getting excited to see it working and getting to play it. It's just all kinds of cool stuff with the Halo community, and I just want us, like with Halo Respawn, I want us to help nurture that and help build a tool that, because again, like I was saying, that we could recreate Reddit if we wanted to, but it's just finding something that works well with the Halo community, and that's challenging. That's the real challenging part.
Yeah,
but it's not.
Is,
yeah, I mean, another great story is Mike's story about his Halo interactions and what Halo's meant to him. It's on our YouTube channel. Mike talks about some of his lifelong relationships and friendships he's made. And a lot of the guys were at the wedding.
Yeah. A lot of them actually walked in my wedding. So, they were with me there. Yeah. It was kind of cool because I got some buddies who live in Arkansas, Louisiana, Jersey, scattered throughout Miami as well. And I'm trying not to forget anybody, in Kentucky. And all of them were like, yeah, let's show up. I mean, something that, you guys might not know about is that those are the guys who stayed with me at 3:45 the night before my wedding day, prepping and getting everything ready. Those are the guys who stayed there, doing the most of it. And I was like, man, these guys are awesome. Did
you say 3:45 or 3:43?
He said 3:45.
Missed opportunity.
I think if I remember correctly, it was 3:43 is the time.
Sure.
Nice.
But no, man, and those are the guys who stayed the latest. Those are the guys who put in the most work. Those are the guys who cheered me on the loudest, and it was really cool. There's a picture I got with all of them together. We all brought our controllers, and we took. I have Cheese helmet, and we took a picture together, and that's when I'm framing up. We got new apartments, so we're getting everything ready. But that's a picture. So it's taking a big spot. I'm gonna frame that one up and put a lot of attention there. And the Halo community is family, and I love it. And that's why I was gonna say is that there's a lot of these things that are ambitious, and it's a lot of things that are kind of hard and challenging to do, but they're not impossible. They're not impossible at all, and it's gonna be a ride. It's gonna be an adventure. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be challenging. But I know that the guys who are on this team are people who are gonna be persevering through all those things that people didn't, who are not a part of the active community now. We're gonna outlive that. We're gonna outdo that. We're gonna still be around. In Halo 47, we're gonna be there. We're
Might
gonna
be there. Halo Infinite by the time
there's not gonna be a 47 because it's Infinite now.
Right?
So.
Yeah.
It's the last Halo ever.
Exactly.
But yeah, man. I mean, we're going to be doing this for a long time, and the people who are a part of this team are really devoted and ready to go on. And I'm proud to be working with these people. I'm glad I get to do a podcast with Eric. I'm glad that I get to see Jordan write these great stories and get connected with these great people. And I'm glad that I get to interact and meet new people weekly, whether it's social media. And I look forward to meeting them in person at events. It's awesome. I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, since we've begun our journey, that's the thing I'm really looking forward to is where we step our feet, physically in 2020 and beyond, like meeting these people. And what was interesting for me, I actually kind of had this happen for the first time ever in my 20 years of gaming. I was playing Halo the other day with Jordan, and I had somebody, we were just playing Halo, I think it was MCC or Halo 5, get out of the game. It was a really close game, and I had a guy message me saying, "Hey, you're Vecking from Halo Respawn, right?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" Like, I'm not here for me, but I was like, "Yeah, that's me." He's like, "I'm excited for what you guys are doing. Keep it up." And I'm like, "I don't know who you are, but for some reason you guys are keeping an eye on it." But it shows that people care. They're excited for it. And just like Mike's face in that image that nobody else can see. But that there was one of those moments where it's like, okay, people are watching, people are caring that this happens. Mm-hmm. So for me, that message in itself to me was like, okay, yeah, this is happening. We got to make this happen. So I'm really excited for coming, and Mike.
I think it might be time to maybe call it a night and have you guys on back another time.
Getting all slapped.
But we could go on and on.
Eric is being juvenile. I'm so sorry for this.
That's for me to shut up. Probably.
No, Eric is the one who's just really doing a great job of representing us.
I mean, you've texted me like 12 pictures of myself.
This is what the Halo Respawn staff
does on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's just pretty much pictures of everything that Eric does wrong. We just talk about it. There's so much things that it takes up most of our space.
There's always one, right? Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Obviously, we can talk about stuff all night long, as we've talked for 2 hours on anything and everything. We'll probably definitely have you guys back. Well, not probably. We'll definitely have you guys back on the show if we ever talk about BR or Sprint or whatever.
Yes.
But go ahead and to wrap things up, go ahead and do the social plugs.
Yeah. So you guys can follow us everywhere: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube at Halo Respawn. And you can visit us on our website at halorespawn.com. And if any of you guys are curious about our Discord, that link is on our Twitter bio. You can find it there. But the big thing I want to say is if you guys are interested in helping out with our team here at Halo Respawn and actually making this a reality, please either contact myself at Vecking95. You can hit up Mike, you can have Eric, you can have Jordan, hit us up on our Twitter, send us an email. We want you guys to be part of this ride because this is a community that's going to be built by the community. That's really what we want it to be. So if you guys have an interest in really being a part of this journey with us, please let us know.
If you guys want to go ahead and follow me, you can follow me on Twitter at HungryXB3AR. That's Hungry Bear, HungryXB3AR. And you guys want to talk Halo? You guys want to talk about speculation on Infinite? Anything you guys want to talk about? We're here. We're available. And can't wait to go throughout this journey for Infinite with you guys.
Yeah, and you can find me on Twitter. Mostly we're kind of active at South TV. It's SOVTH TV.
He doesn't know how to spell, guys. Just bear with him.
It's late.
He's on the day.
No, I spelled it right.
That's how he spells it.
Oh, you're okay.
Okay, Hungry Bear.
You're doing that.
B3 or B.
People have heard South on here before, so they know where to find South.
Yeah.
On the Twitter sphere.
Yes.
We're out there. Come talk.
Come
Cool.
play games with us too. We'll play Halo.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. I know it's been a late night, and so you guys are probably ready to head off and go to bed.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I think I'll be up in an hour to wake up baby crying or something.
Oh, jeez. But yeah, give these guys a follow. They've been doing a lot of great and hard work out there, so it's been wonderful to have you guys on. We'll definitely have you guys back on in the future.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Always love being on.
And as always, keep on fragging them trucks.